Hey everybody, John here. Today we're going to be talking about Ned rigs. I'm going to be rolling in some clips from previous videos that I did, and I'll link those videos up here in the card. You just click on that little circle with the exclamation point on it. But hold on just a second. But we're going to go through some of the rods, jig heads, line, a lot of the baits that I use on it, and how to retrieve it. So stick with me here and we're going to dive in. Alright guys, right here are the three basic types of baits that you're going to use on a Ned rig. These are basic. These are the ones that Z-Man says that they made for the Ned rig. The one that is the most popular is the TRD. That's just the standard Z-Man TRD, the turd, whatever you want to call it. And then you have the hula sticks. That's another awesome bait. I'm going to go more into them here in a moment. And then the tube, the TRD tube came out, I think it was last year or year before last. I can't really remember. It's an awesome bait. I use it quite often. It doesn't stay on the hook as well as the other two. But these are your three basic Ned rigging baits. Now there's a couple others that Z-Man makes that work pretty good, like their Shad Z and stuff like that. I don't use it as often as I use some others. Another one that I use quite often, and it works great for me, especially for smallmouth. This is the Z-Man punch crawls. They made it as a bait to use with a punch rig, and all it is just a basic crawfish profile. But when you put it on these jig heads right here, right like so, this sucker wants to sit down on the bottom straight up and down. It wants to just sit there vertical like so, and then it falls over. It wants to sit down on the bottom like that, just up, just like the other ones, because this thing floats. That's the nice part about the Elastec baits from Z-Man. They want to float. But another bait that I use sometimes, and it's just whenever I'm out of the TRDs and the color I want, I typically have a 4-inch Cinco that works pretty good. I just cut it down a little bit, and you can see right here, right in the center of the egg sac will give you about the same length, or use the whole thing, or cut it down a little bit, and it'll be about the same as the hula sticks. One thing I do quite often to these Cincos, whenever I'm using them with a Ned rig, is I'll actually split the end of it right here. I'll split it 6 different ways, or depending on if I have my pocket knife or if I'm using a pair of scissors. But I'll typically cut them down to about right there. So 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch. I'll split them as many ways as I can, much like the hula sticks here. And it just gives it a totally different action. It really does draw the fish in pretty good. Move these here out of the way for a moment. Another one that I use sometimes, and this is just one example. This just happens to be the Berkeley Havoc bottom hopper. The nice part about these is these want to float a little bit, so it's giving you something very similar in action to the Z-Man stuff. Another one that I use quite a bit, of course the Z-Man, but another one is the Big Bites squirrel tail finesse or trick worm or finesse worm, whatever it is. I use those quite a bit too, because the tail of those squirrel tail worms want to float. I mean, they're really buoyant. The downside of using them is the bluegill will drive you absolutely nuts trying to take them off of off the bait. Then another one is a Zoom Centipede. This it's just a different profile, a little different action. You know, with these ribs, it pushes a little more water. But that's some of the other ones. Another thing I want to talk about real quick is the line. Typically 6-pound test is the maximum pound test that I'm going to use with a Ned Rig. And that's mainly due to the thin wire hook that these have. Get it over here where you can see it. These have a pretty thin hook on them. And these are the Z-Man Shrooms head. Ned Rig jig head. Those work pretty good because they want to stand up. The reason why I use these so much is because they're widely available now that the Ned Rig has become so popular. You can find those a lot easier than you can some of the other mushroom head jigs, which tends to work better. He hit it on the fall. Feels like a pretty good fish too. He's running right at me. He's not that big. He's just fighting really hard. Oh, there's another one with him. He had a buddy come up with him. Come here, Mr. Fishy. Oh! There we go, we got him. That's another nice little smallmouth. Got out here kind of late today. I wanted to get out here a lot earlier. Now my cord's tangled up in my reel. It gets dark so quick now. But anyways, back to this Ned Rig. On these smallies, especially in a river system, I mean, it's deadly. It's not even fair. See what I mean? He hit it right at the boat. Oh my God almighty. This is a really, really good one, and this is one of the prettiest smallmouth I think I've ever caught. Super dark, got the spots all over him. Oh, she ain't the biggest in the world, but she is gorgeous. I'll try to bring her over to the camera, get it away from the sun where we can get a better look at her. This one is gorgeous though. Awesome. 3. She might be 3.5. I'll put her on the scale. See what she ends up weighing. She might not be better. I don't know. Big old head on her though. Stay down, stay down. Ooh, she's hooked pretty deep too. I'm gonna grab the net for this one. All right, come here, sweet thing. Oh yes. God, this fish has got a head on it. Let me get turned around away from the sun. But this one here is just super dark. I mean, gorgeous fish. I'll bring her back there to you guys where you can see her better. Go on. Let's see if we can get one on Ned Rig. Haven't caught a smallmouth on a Ned Rig for a while. Oh, he come off. See if another one will grab it. Remy, hush. I'm working on it, bud. I'm working on it. There he is. That's a good fish. He's heading out deep water. I love his smallmouth. Come on, boy. Come here, big guy. There we go, boy. Oh, did he get lab approved? Is he lab approved, bud? There we go. There's the one on the Ned Rig. Anyways, rod wise, generally a 7-foot medium works the best. One that I personally have found to work exceptionally well is the Cabela's Tournament ZX drop shot rod. The tip on it is exceptional for throwing a Ned Rig. See if I can get it to focus there. I'm on focus. There we go. You can catch them on sale for like $50. Normal price is right around $100. And for me, using a braided main line with a mono or fluorocarbon leader, best rod I've ever used for a Ned Rig. That tip is light enough that you can actually see a pressure bite. You'll actually see the rod tip flex. But anyways, those are some of the baits that I use. That's one rod that I have found to work exceptionally well. But pretty much any 7-foot medium, 7'2" medium light will work really well. During the summer, I find that a medium light, if I'm not using that Cabela's rod, a medium light works better. It'll keep me from ripping that hook out of a fish while I'm fighting them to the boat. Because in the summertime when the water's warm, their mouth is a little softer. Alright guys, so now on the retrieval of a Ned Rig, it's pretty much up to your imagination. There is really truly no right or wrong way to use a Ned Rig. The big thing that you got to understand is fishing the bait the way the fish want it. And the only way to figure that out is to try different stuff. Now in the clip that I rolled in at the beginning, I was actually swimming that Ned Rig. You know, I'd wait till it got down to the bottom and then I'd just kind of swim it along. Whereas in the second fishing clip from the video that I did, I think a week ago, 2 weeks ago, somewhere in there, I'm actually dragging the bait. And another thing too is, what are you trying to imitate with said bait or with the Ned Rig? What are you trying to imitate with it? And that will dictate how you use it. For instance, if I'm throwing a shad type bait like this TRD This one here is called the Deal. That's this color. It's a very shad profile. This, I can swim it, I can hop it, I can use it however I want. There really truly is no right or wrong way. The retrieval on a Ned Rig, keep it simple. KISS method. Drag it, swim it, and hop it. That's your three. But tight lines, and we'll catch y'all next time.